Hello, you're watching Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Sunam Pem. Our top stories this week. His Majesty the King appoints 4 new secretaries and promotes 20 armed force officers. His Holiness the Jekhempo graces the International Youth Day celebration in the capital. And congenital heart disease, the most common birth defects in Bhutan. His Majesty the King appointed 4 new secretaries for Agriculture Ministry, Gross National Happiness Commission, Drasang Lhenso and National Environment Commission. His Majesty also promoted 20 Lieutenant Colonels of Royal Bodyguards and Royal Bhutan Army to the rank of Colonel. "51-year-old Rinzin Dorji, the former Director General of Construction Development Board, is the new Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture and Forests. The new Secretary of Drasang Lhenso is Karmatsring Namgyal. He was the Consul General of Royal Bhutan Consulate in Kolkata. The former Director of Gross National Happiness Commission Thinle Namgyal takes over as the new Gross National Happiness Commission Secretary. And Senchu Norbu, the former Director General of Department of Forests and Park Services under the Agriculture Ministry, is the new Secretary of National Environment Commission. Along with the secretaries, His Majesty the King also conferred Dar to 20 armed force personnel. They were promoted to the rank of colonel. Most of them have been serving for over 2 decades now. Sunam Pem for BBS News. His Majesty the King graced the 15th National Graduate Orientation Program and granted an audience to over 2,000 university graduates.
His Majesty the King spent close to an hour addressing the graduates who are attending the orientation program at the Royal Institute of Management.
Every parent's dream is to see you where you are today. So ane bodalo the charagi pam pincha sugi chelo shatsami sugi charagi drubdelu tadi name same sem garak tibe dyongsa. The ngagi tawda gachi tombal. Maragi che tawdalu the chegi cho yundu chegi talapa guzung bunda shu la betang cha shutang ani suka rangachira pendi dubi gyakhabgi juno longchi yimbal.
His Majesty also talked about the risk that the Bhutanese must be prepared to face in the future.
Complacency. There's always a danger. In fact, that time I started by saying that we are very capable. But you also by now would know that capable people tend to be complacent. Because talented people, people who can do things better than others, where they can pick up things faster than others. Sometimes we take things for granted. Mi khetasu. Jamewates. Besu. Aniki nyanka yura yusa. Tama yame metega. Complacency can kill our future. The other thing is halamji. La halamji be bedawachin ta lejimi ta kuis. Tube 50% of the work is not good enough. Who knows, maybe for exams is fine. It's a difficult subject, you've worked hard, you've given your best, you get 50%, too well. But for the country, 50% is never good enough. So ani boda ngachi na druge khabna lu milop kamil. Chala marabe. Kachira zedere beru cha jachale jacha tasake gosa.
His Majesty advised the graduates never to stop learning.
람디 지레 마치 지가베르 종 지지기 자와르 뇽 땡아치 가라 때 고토 작합 태오들로 랑기 부질로 야합디 다리와 탑 다리와 랩 딩디베 찌트니기 라오멜로미우사. But that result entirely hinges upon your service to your country, sir. But please serve yourself. Tobala. Because what is service? Cherakama long diso, rangi pamalu tileje, rangi yuka huebodulu pentope rolu sopmabe, never make, ben pentope du, chache lejimbe shu, genka ba, la maju, and keep learning, sir.
The National Graduate Orientation Program will end on Saturday. Sangeet Chezom for BBS News.
His Holiness the Jekempo granted an audience to over 400 youth at Tashi Chozong in the capital to mark the International Youth Day. This is the first time that youth groups and the Drasang Lhenso collaborated to celebrate the day.
Speaking to over 400 youths in the Tashchezo to mark the International Youth Day, His Holiness the Jekempo stressed on the essence of youth. His Holiness then introduced Gyaltse Tengkun Duba or Lord Buddha as the god of children. Likewise, Yum Jumal Haze or Lord Buddha's mother, Mahamaya, was introduced as the goddess of mothers.
Gyaltse Tengkun Duba has now been introduced as the god of children because the form and shape of Buddha's childhood appeals the children and can connect to him easily. So it is to introduce the Bhutanese, the god and goddesses of children and mothers.
The participants offered a prayer composed by His Holiness the Jekempo. The prayer is dedicated for the well-being of the youths.
So it's very important for the youths today to actually have a very good intention and clear conscious of what they want to do and how they want to serve. That's awesome. So that's why we gathered here today in Kunwe to actually have audience with Jabje, and then all of us could join hands together and we can offer our prayers, and then we will commit to ourselves that we will be a very important citizen of Bhutan. So it's very important to start off with the prayer.
This year's Youth Day is quite different compared to previous years. This time, receiving an audience with Jabje is really special. I could make a lot of new friends as well.
Today, most youth are involved in unpleasant activities. His Holiness's advice will help the youth to refrain from such activities and do well in life.
The day this year is marked on the theme, The Road to 2030, Eradicating Poverty and Achieving Sustainable Production and Consumption. The program was initiated by Bhutan GNH Youth in collaboration with Youth Group Association of Bhutan. The day, which is celebrated on 12th August every year, was marked today for more youth to participate. Kipchu, BBS News.
A tenant of one of the buildings destroyed by the recent fire incident in Mongar, said LPG cylinder leakage in his house caused the fire. The fire, which started at 4:30 p.m., razed 3 traditional houses and destroyed 2 attics of nearby buildings.
The fire, which initially began from one of the attics of a traditional house, quickly spread to other nearby houses after strings of LPG cylinders exploded.
I don't know what to say. It's really unfortunate. I've caused damages to others and their houses. I can't bear such feelings and I don't know what to do.
Most of the occupants of the razed buildings could not salvage their belongings.
We couldn't think of anything. Even if I wanted to save my things, I wasn't in a position to work. At such times, we don't think of our children also. I could not recover anything. I am sad because it has been only 4 months since I renovated the house.
Sensing the danger, the nearby residents emptied all their belongings out on the street. The fire affected 29 families. They put up with their friends and relatives for a night.
침돔 남삼지 민두발라서 세우다디 세우다일라하두 ngachi 세우다다르 침돔 고베 더 침돔 더 감집에 침톱드베로 잘라가치 아마 도베베달로 라토 칼리라니 지 차베되고 비오서 안네베도 탱콩 뉴베예.
The fire was contained at 9 p.m. Firefighters had to demolish a one-story house using excavator to stop the fire from spreading further. For Chetan Rupchu in Mongar, Namgyo Wangchuk, PBS News.
Upon the command of His Majesty the King, Prime Minister Tsering Tobgay travelled to Mongar. He commended the armed force personnel, residents of the town and students among others for their valiant efforts in containing the fire.
The Prime Minister inspected the houses damaged by the fire and also met with the affected tenants, house owners and business people. He said that a greater disaster was averted and fire contained successfully due to the supervision and guidance of His Royal Highness the Gasap. His Royal Highness personally supervised a group of volunteers, armed force personnel, desups and civil servants in fighting the fire and evacuating belongings. Prime Minister Tsering Tobgay assured the affected house owners that insurance claims will be processed as soon as possible. The school-going children of the affected families will be provided with books and stationeries. The Dzongkhag administration, after discussing with the affected families for possible solutions, will come up with a report to be submitted to His Majesty the King. For Chetan Rupchu in Mongar, Namgyo Wangchuk, PBS News.
Congenital heart disease, a problem in the structure of the heart that is present at birth, is found to be the most common birth defect in Bhutan. A recently published Bhutan Health Journal says alcohol consumption during pregnancy is one of the causes of congenital heart disease.
The study found that for every 1,000 live births, 68 babies are born with congenital heart disease. Many women in the country consume alcohol knowingly or unknowingly, risking their babies to be born with heart defects.
If any time during the course of pregnancy, especially during the first few weeks of pregnancy, the mother has a history of alcohol consumption, there is increased risk of the baby or the fetus having congenital heart diseases. So we call congenital heart diseases because there is a spectrum of conditions. It can be some holes in the heart, or it can be some blockage of pipes.
Other risk factors are smoking, genetic conditions, maternal diabetes, and prolonged epilepsy medication. If a baby is born with congenital heart disease, the baby will have excessive sweating, extreme tiredness, and will have rapid breathing and heartbeat. Sometimes a baby will be born with a blue tinge on the skin. However, the heart disease in its milder form is curable.
There are still some other complex congenital heart diseases where many times only symptomatic treatment can be provided, or what we call palliative treatment. So it may be in the form of surgery or medicines, but cure cannot be provided in some complex. But majority of congenital heart disease can be treated successfully.
But if the disease is not treated at an early age, the child will suffer from recurrent pneumonia and heart failure when he or she grows up. About 130 cases of congenital heart disease are referred to Thimphu every year, but the surgeries are done in India. Sangeeta Shazom for BBS News.
Last month's monsoon flood in Sarbang has affected over 33 acres of paddy field in Lingar and Gadin villages under Umlingewak. In total, the flood has affected paddy fields of 19 households from the two villages. The swollen Taklai River last month completely washed away over 7 acres of paddy field. Another 7 acres of paddy field have been completely damaged. The paddy fields are filled with sand and boulder. In total, over 33 acres of paddy field were affected. Besides their paddy field, farmers have also lost their paddy to the monsoon. This has left the farmers worried.
My 3 acres of paddy field has been completely washed away by the flood. I never thought this would happen, and now I'm worried thinking that there is nothing left to eat this year.
The flood has caused trouble to us. I cultivated more than 2 acres of paddy and it has been completely washed away. If government can provide us machines to help revive our field, then we might be able to cultivate next year. Otherwise, there is nothing we can do as we solely depend on our paddy field.
After working hard and transplanting paddy, the flood has washed away completely. We would be grateful if a substitute land can be provided by the government.
The flood has also damaged the river protection walls along the Taklai River and a kilometer of irrigation channel. The Works and Human Settlement Minister said it is not possible to restore the irrigation channel. She said joint effort from the Agriculture Minister will be required to tame the Taklai River. Limpodoji Chodan met the affected farmers of Lingar and Gadin villages and also visited the affected areas on Sunday.
The irrigation channel has been damaged, and then the river has damaged the paddy field. So even Agriculture Ministry has to come on board and try to see how, together with the taming of the river, how can this irrigation channel be reinstated, and also the field that are being damaged. So agriculture sector will have to also come together.
In total, the farmers lost over 47 tons of crops, which is roughly around 7 truckloads. Compiled for Karmawangdi in Galifu, Sunampem for BBS News. The Class 5 Social Studies textbooks has many factual, spelling and grammatical errors. These mistakes were observed and corrected by the National Council Chairperson, Dasho Dr. Sonam Kinga.
According to the National Council's chairperson, Dashu Dr. Sonam Kinga, this particular topic, government, on page 66 of the Class 5 Social Studies textbook, is one of the major mistakes amongst many others. For example, a sentence in the text reads, "In the past, our country was monarchy," but the chairperson says, Bhutan is still a monarchy today, not just in the past. Similarly, according to Dashu Sonam Kinga, Bhutan became a parliamentary democracy in 2008. The form of government is democratic constitutional monarchy. The usage of words parliamentary democratic monarchy in a textbook therefore is incorrect. The chairperson pointed out many other mistakes and suggested corrections. The chairperson's social media post drew attention of many readers. A teacher from Wandipota writes, "It is not only in social studies. There are lots of spelling mistakes even in Zonka textbooks." One person writes, "Our history textbooks and all classes are in urgent need of updates and corrections." Another teacher writes, "There are a host of spelling, content and grammatical mistakes in almost all the textbooks. I teach Class 8 New Curriculum Science. Can't help but spot many asserted mistakes. We correct the mistakes as we teach." And another teacher writes, "Curriculum developers need to timely update the text. On the other hand, I see teachers providing updated information in their classes. Hats off to the teachers." The Class 5 Social Studies textbook was last revised in 2012 and reprinted in 2013. Kilayangdan for BBS News.
Meanwhile, the Royal Education Council says they have stopped printing Class 5 Social Studies textbooks after the National Council chairperson suggested corrections for the mistakes. The suggestions will be incorporated and the schools will receive the corrected version by the end of November this year. Schools that have not subscribed to additional copies will receive circulars to include the corrected version.
As soon as this came out, we, the concerned curriculum officer and a team of relevant officials from the council worked on it immediately, and the error that appeared has been corrected.
The Social Studies curriculum was developed under the directives of Department of Education under the Ministry of Social Services, the then Education Ministry, in 1992.
We must have a framework in place. Only then can we proceed with designing the coursework for the different levels. Unfortunately, the earlier books like Social Studies, History and Geography were prepared within record time by one or two individuals. Now, the only subjects that do not have frameworks are these three subjects, the history, geography, and social studies. And in the next couple of years, our focus will be to ensure that these three subjects, we develop the framework and then the coursework.
Generally, as per the curriculum development procedures, the content of the syllabus is derived from the curriculum framework, which is then put up to the curriculum board. The subject committee then approves the syllabus content. Based on the approval, teachers are engaged in developing the textbooks. Proofreading is then done by an expert in the subject area before the content is sent out for printing. The printers submit a sample to the council for last-minute corrections. The director says the teachers and parents should call the toll-free line 185 to inform about the errors so that the curriculum can be continuously monitored. The director added, the Royal Education Council is diligently working to revise the curriculum. The National Council is also conducting an exhaustive review of the curriculum. With additional reporting by Ishigal Ninparo, Kilayangdan, BBS News.
That's all we have for you this week. Until then, this is Sunampim saying goodbye.